This is Test 1, Section 3, Question 4 from the College Board's official SAT study guide. As usual, I'm not allowed to reproduce the questions, so I've put up all the important information. Before I jump into this problem, I just want to talk about a little general theory that's going to help you through this. So the equation of a line has the form y equals mx plus b, if you look down here on the bottom of the board. M in this equation is the slope of the line, and b is the y-intercept of the line. Technically, the y-intercept is the point 0, comma b, but the College Board seems to abuse this notation, so I will as well, and just call b the y-intercept. Now, the number m in this equation, in addition to being the slope, in word problems, it tends to also represent a rate or a change or a rate of change. It's the rate of change of the dependent variable, y, with respect to the independent variable, x. Again, in word problems, b tends to represent an initial amount. Okay, so let's jump to the problem now. It says Kathy is a repair technician for a phone company. Each week she receives a batch of phones that need repairs. The number of phones that she has left to fix at the end of each day can be estimated with the equation P equals 108 minus 23D, where P is the number of phones left and D is the number of days that she has worked that week. What is the meaning of the value 108 in this equation? Notice that I circled the number 108. Now, if you were paying attention to the theory I talked about before, you would know that this 108 represents an initial amount. Now, be careful, because the way this is written, it's kind of backwards. The variable is over here. So notice below it, I rewrote it as P equals negative 23D plus 108. In practice, you shouldn't have to do that, but you do have to just realize that the slope or rate of change is the number in front of the variable, and the initial amount is the constant. Okay, so in this case, the initial amount is 108. So now we look at the answer choices, and we pick the one that has to do with an initial amount. A says Kathy will complete the repairs within 108 days. I didn't hear anything about an initial amount. B says Kathy starts each week with 108 phones to fix. She starts the week with 108 phones to fix. The answer is, in fact, choice B. Just to look at the other choices quickly, C says Kathy repairs phones at a rate of 108 per hour, and D says Kathy repairs phones at a rate of 108 per day. The word rate in C and D indicates that they want the slope, which is the number in front of the variable D. So C and D can be eliminated because that has to do with the number negative 23 and not the number 108. And I just want to mention one last thing. Formally, you get the 108 by substituting a 0 in for D. In other words, when you plug in D equals 0, meaning that Kathy worked 0 days, you get that there are 108 phones left. So after 0 days, there are 108 phones left, meaning the initial number of phones is 108.